The moment people hear you speak, they decide whether to trust you, follow you, or forget you. Your voice is not just sound, it is your reputation before your results are ever seen. Most people believe leaders are born with confidence. That belief keeps millions of people silent every single day. The truth is much simpler. Leadership begins the moment your words become clear, your thinking becomes steady, and your message gives people confidence instead of confusion. The way you speak can open opportunities, build trust, solve problems, and earn respect long before you receive a title. In this audiobook, you will learn how to talk like a real leader in everyday life. You will discover how to speak with confidence without sounding arrogant. You will learn how to stay calm when people challenge you. You will understand how to answer difficult questions with clarity, how to earn trust through honest communication, and how to inspire people through simple words that they never forget. This is not about public speaking tricks or memorizing impressive sentences. It is about changing the way you think before you speak. Every chapter gives you practical lessons that you can use in conversations at work, with your family, with friends, and in every important moment of your life. Listen carefully until the very end, because one better conversation can change one opportunity, and one opportunity can change the direction of your entire life. Chapter 1. Start speaking with confidence every day. Strong leaders are remembered because people believe their words. Confidence is not a gift that only a few people receive. Confidence grows every time you speak with honesty and clear purpose. The way you speak every day slowly teaches other people how seriously they should take you. Many people believe that leadership begins with a high position or many years of experience. Real leadership begins much earlier than that. It begins the moment your words become dependable. People pay attention to someone whose speech is calm and steady because it makes them feel safe. They do not need loud voices or perfect language. They need someone who sounds certain about what they know and honest about what they do not know. That kind of confidence can be built by anyone who is willing to practice every day. One reason people struggle to sound confident is because they speak while judging themselves. Their mind is busy checking every word before it leaves their mouth. They worry about making mistakes. They worry about how they look. They worry about what someone else might think. All of that mental noise steals attention from the real conversation. Confident speakers are not free from fear. They simply give more attention to the message than to themselves. This small change makes a powerful difference. A useful lesson that many people never learn is that confidence is easier to hear than to see. Someone may stand perfectly straight and still sound unsure because their words are filled with doubt. Another person may look completely ordinary, yet speak with such clarity that everyone listens. Your voice carries your beliefs. Every sentence tells people whether you trust your own thoughts. Before other people believe your message, you must first sound like you believe it yourself. Start paying attention to the first sentence you say in every conversation. Most people waste this moment. They begin with weak words that reduce their own confidence. They apologize for speaking before they even share an idea. They soften every opinion until it almost disappears. Replace those habits with clear statements. Speak directly. State your purpose. Let your opening sentence show that you respect both yourself and the person listening. Many leaders quietly practice before important conversations. This is not because they cannot speak. It is because they understand that preparation creates confidence. Spend 5 minutes speaking your ideas out loud before a meeting. Listen to your own words. Remove anything that sounds confusing. Shorten long explanations. Replace difficult words with simple ones. The clearer your message becomes, the more natural your confidence will sound. Another practical habit is slowing your speaking speed just a little. Nervous people often speak too quickly because they want the uncomfortable moment to end. Fast speech usually creates more mistakes and more anxiety. Slow speech gives your brain enough time to choose better words. It also gives the listener enough time to understand your message. A calm pace makes people feel that you are in control even during difficult conversations. Many people believe they need better vocabulary to sound like a leader. That is rarely the real problem. Great leadership communication depends much more on simple words used with clear intention. The strongest message is often the easiest one to understand. Complicated language can create distance. Simple language creates connection. People trust speakers who help them understand instead of trying to impress them. Your daily conversations are your training ground. Every greeting is practice. Every phone call is practice. Every discussion at work is practice. Every family conversation is practice. Most people wait for an important event before they decide to improve. Leaders improve during ordinary moments because they know those moments shape their future performance. There is another habit that quietly weakens confidence. Many people end important sentences by making them sound uncertain. They raise their voice at the end, even though they are making a statement. This simple speaking habit makes listeners wonder whether you believe your own words. Finish your statements with calm certainty. Let your voice come to a natural ending. This small adjustment immediately changes how people receive your message. Confidence also grows through knowledge. It is much easier to speak clearly about something you truly understand. Spend time learning before speaking. Read more. Observe carefully. Ask questions. Listen closely. The more knowledge you collect, the less energy you spend trying to sound intelligent. Real understanding naturally produces stronger communication. A powerful exercise is keeping one promise to yourself every single day. Choose something small. Finish it before the day ends. This habit strengthens self-respect. People often separate personal discipline from communication. They are closely connected. Every promise you keep teaches your mind that your words have value. That belief appears naturally in your conversations. Pay close attention to your breathing before you speak. Nervous breathing becomes short and quick. That sends tension into your voice. Take one slow breath before answering an important question. This simple action gives your brain more oxygen and reduces unnecessary pressure. Your voice becomes steadier. Your thoughts become clearer. Many experienced speakers use this habit without anyone noticing. Another lesson that deserves more attention is the power of silence. Confident people are not afraid of short pauses. They allow their words to settle before continuing. Many nervous speakers fill every second with extra words because silence feels uncomfortable. Short pauses that you are thinking carefully. They help your audience follow your ideas. They also help you remain calm under pressure. Learn to remove unnecessary words from your daily speech. Many people repeat the same idea 3 or 4 times because they hope repetition will create confidence. It usually creates confusion instead. Say what needs to be said, make it clear, then move forward. Strong communication is not about speaking longer. It is about making every sentence useful. Confidence becomes stronger when your actions match your words. People quickly notice the difference between someone who talks well and someone who lives well. Speak about habits you actually practice. Share lessons you have tested. Admit mistakes you have corrected. Honest experience gives your words a quiet strength that cannot be copied by memorizing speeches. There will be days when your confidence feels lower than usual. That does not mean you should stop speaking. Confidence is built during imperfect days more than easy days. Every conversation handled with courage teaches your mind that you are capable of more than you believed yesterday. Growth happens through repeated action rather than perfect performance. Look carefully at people who naturally earn respect. Most of them do not speak the most. They choose the right moment. They stay focused on the topic. They avoid unnecessary arguments. They listen fully before answering. Their confidence comes from self-control rather than constant talking. This is a lesson that many people overlook because they confuse attention with leadership. Make one simple commitment today. Decide that every conversation will leave your words a little clearer than yesterday. Notice one habit that needs improvement. Practice one better sentence. Speak one honest opinion with calm confidence. Small improvements repeated every day slowly change your identity. One day, people will describe you as someone who naturally speaks like a leader because your daily habits quietly built that reputation. Chapter 2. Stop talking without thinking first. Every strong leader controls words before words control the situation. Careful speaking is a daily habit that protects trust. Every sentence creates an impression that stays longer than many people realize. The people who earn lasting respect are usually the people who have learned that speaking less often produces stronger results. Many people believe that quick answers show intelligence. Real life often proves the opposite. Fast answers are usually built on incomplete thinking. They may sound confident for a moment, but they often create confusion later. A thoughtful answer takes only a few extra seconds, yet those few seconds can prevent misunderstanding, unnecessary conflict, and damaged relationships. The ability to pause before speaking is one of the clearest signs of emotional maturity. Notice what happens during a normal conversation. Someone shares an opinion, and another person immediately interrupts. They are not listening anymore. They are preparing their reply. Their mind is busy building arguments instead of understanding the message. This habit weakens communication because people stop learning the moment they become more interested in answering than understanding. A practical exercise is to make listening your first responsibility in every conversation. Pay attention to the exact words people choose. Notice what they repeat. Listen for the problem they are trying to solve instead of waiting for your chance to speak. Most people reveal much more than they intend. Their concerns, priorities, and emotions are often hidden inside simple sentences. A leader hears those details because a leader listens with full attention. There is another mistake that quietly damages leadership. Many people confuse having an opinion with needing to express it immediately. Every thought does not deserve to become spoken words. Some ideas need more time. Some emotions need to settle. Some reactions disappear completely after a few minutes. Learning to separate temporary emotion from meaningful communication saves countless relationships. Your brain works differently when you slow yourself down. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin evaluating your response. You ask yourself simple questions. Is this true? Is this helpful? Is this necessary? Does this solve the problem? These questions take only a moment, yet they completely change the quality of your communication. This habit gradually becomes automatic through daily practice. Leaders also understand the cost of unnecessary words. Every extra sentence creates another chance to create confusion. Long explanations often hide weak thinking. Clear thinking usually produces shorter communication. Before speaking, try organizing your main point into one simple idea. Once that idea is clear in your own mind, explaining it becomes much easier for everyone else. Many conversations become difficult because people answer emotions instead of facts. Someone speaks with frustration, and another person responds with frustration. Soon, both people are defending themselves instead of solving anything. Strong communicators recognize emotion without becoming controlled by it. They stay focused on facts, solutions, and next steps. This approach keeps conversations productive even during disagreement. Another practical lesson involves recognizing emotional triggers. Everyone has certain words or situations that create an immediate reaction. Some people become defensive after criticism. Others become impatient when interrupted. Some lose control when they feel ignored. These reactions often happen before conscious thinking begins. The first step toward better leadership is identifying your own patterns. Once you recognize them, you gain the ability to manage them instead of being controlled by them. A simple notebook can become one of your greatest teachers. After an important conversation, spend a few minutes writing down what happened. Record what you said well. Record what you wish you had said differently. Notice where emotions influenced your choices. Over time, you will begin seeing patterns that are impossible to notice during busy daily life. Small observations lead to meaningful improvement. Many people underestimate the value of asking one more question before offering advice. Good leaders know that every situation has details that are not immediately visible. Instead of rushing toward solutions, they become curious. They ask people to explain more. They ask what has already been tried. They ask what outcome is expected. Better questions often solve problems before advice is even needed. Speaking carefully does not mean becoming silent. It means becoming intentional. There is an important difference. Silence caused by fear limits opportunities. Silence chosen for thoughtful communication creates respect. Leadership requires both speaking and restraint. Knowing when to use each skill separates experienced communicators from impulsive ones. Observe experienced professionals during important meetings. They rarely compete to speak first. They collect information before sharing opinions. While others react quickly, they quietly notice details that everyone else misses. By the time they speak, their comments often move the discussion forward because they are based on careful observation instead of immediate reaction. Another valuable habit is removing emotional words from difficult conversations. During disagreement, many people use absolute language. They say, always. They say never. They exaggerate small problems until they become impossible to solve. Calm language keeps conversations realistic. It encourages cooperation instead of resistance. Small changes in word choice often create completely different outcomes. Your face also communicates before your mouth opens. A frustrated expression changes how people hear your words. A calm expression makes difficult conversations feel safer. Before responding, relax your face. Release unnecessary tension in your shoulders. Breathe normally. These simple physical adjustments influence both your own thinking and the comfort of the person listening. Many people regret words they spoke during moments of anger. Very few regret taking a short pause before answering. This is because emotions naturally become weaker when given a little time. Your first emotional reaction is not always your wisest response. Waiting a few seconds allows your thinking mind to guide your communication instead of your emotional impulse. There is an important lesson that successful negotiators understand. The person asking the best questions usually learns more than the person giving the fastest answers. Information creates better decisions. Curiosity creates better information. This is why thoughtful leaders spend more time discovering facts than defending opinions. Every conversation has a purpose. Before speaking, quietly decide what that purpose is. Perhaps you want to solve a problem. Perhaps you want to encourage someone. Perhaps you want to explain an idea. Perhaps you simply want to understand another person better. Once your purpose is clear, your words naturally become more focused. Conversations become shorter, more respectful, and more effective. Another overlooked skill is recognizing that not every statement requires correction. People sometimes make small mistakes that have no real importance. Correcting every detail can make others feel judged rather than supported. Wise leaders choose carefully which issues deserve attention. They protect relationships without sacrificing honesty. This balance creates stronger influence over time. Learn to become comfortable with brief silence after someone finishes speaking. Those quiet moments often encourage people to continue sharing valuable information. Many individuals reveal their most important thoughts only after they realize someone is truly listening. Interrupting too quickly closes that opportunity. Patient silence often teaches more than another question. Your daily environment also shapes your communication habits. Constant noise, endless notifications, and hurried schedules train the brain to react instead of reflect. Create small moments of quiet during your day. Walk without your phone for a few minutes. Sit without constant background sound. Give your mind regular opportunities to slow down. A calm mind naturally produces calmer speech. People trust leaders who remain steady during pressure because steady communication creates emotional safety. During uncertainty, everyone watches the person who appears most balanced. They pay attention to tone more than volume. They notice consistency more than speed. They remember calm decisions long after emotional reactions have been forgotten. Every conversation becomes a chance to strengthen your leadership. Each thoughtful pause improves your judgment. Each careful sentence increases your credibility. Each decision to understand before responding builds stronger relationships. Over time, these small daily choices reshape the way people experience your presence. They begin to see someone who speaks with intention, listens with patience, and earns respect, because every word has been given the attention it deserves before it is spoken. Chapter 3. Speak so people trust your words. Trust is built one conversation at a time. Every sentence either strengthens your reputation or slowly weakens it. People decide whether to believe you long before they decide whether to follow you. A leader does not earn trust by sounding impressive. A leader earns trust by becoming someone whose words match reality every single day. Most people focus on making their speech more interesting. Strong leaders focus on making their speech more reliable. There is a big difference between attracting attention and earning confidence. Attention can disappear in a few minutes. Trust grows slowly because people watch your behavior over time. They compare what you promised with what actually happened. They remember whether your words stayed consistent even when circumstances became difficult. One of the fastest ways to lose trust is speaking with certainty about things you do not fully understand. Many people feel pressure to have an answer for everything. They believe admitting uncertainty will make them look weak. The opposite is often true. Saying that you need more information shows honesty. It tells people that you care more about accuracy than about protecting your image. That simple habit makes your future words much more valuable. People naturally believe speakers who stay close to facts. They become cautious around people who constantly exaggerate. Watch how often some people describe every problem as huge and every success as perfect. Over time, those words lose their meaning because they stop reflecting reality. Honest communication uses balanced language. It describes situations as they truly are, instead of making everything sound bigger than it really is. A practical habit is learning to separate observation from opinion. Many conversations become confusing because people mix the two together. An observation describes something that actually happened. An opinion explains what someone believes about it. Good leaders make this difference clear. They begin with facts before sharing conclusions. This approach reduces misunderstanding because everyone understands what is certain and what is personal interpretation. Another important lesson is that trust grows through consistency more than talent. Someone who speaks clearly one day but changes their message the next creates uncertainty. People begin wondering which version is true. Consistency gives others a sense of stability. They know what to expect from you because your values remain steady. Even during pressure, your communication follows the same principles. Pay attention to promises that seem too small to matter. Saying you will call tomorrow is a promise. Saying you will send information later is a promise. Saying you will arrive at a certain time is also a promise. Many people break these small commitments without realizing the effect. Every broken promise teaches others to lower their expectations. Every kept promise quietly strengthens your credibility. There is a simple exercise that can transform the way people see you. Before giving your word, ask yourself whether you are completely willing to follow through. Many people say yes because they want to avoid disappointment in the moment. Later, they struggle to keep their commitment. A wiser habit is giving fewer promises and honoring every one of them. People trust dependable actions far more than enthusiastic intentions. Strong communication also depends on emotional honesty. This does not mean sharing every feeling with everyone. It means avoiding false confidence and fake agreement. People notice when someone says they understand, but clearly does not. They notice forced enthusiasm. They notice polite words that hide frustration. Honest communication creates comfort because people feel they are dealing with someone genuine rather than someone performing a role. Another overlooked skill is explaining difficult truths without attacking the other person. Many people believe honesty requires harsh language. That belief damages relationships. Honest words can remain respectful. You can disagree without humiliating someone. You can correct mistakes without destroying confidence. Leaders protect dignity while still protecting the truth. This balance creates lasting influence. People also trust speakers who remain calm after making a mistake. Everyone makes errors. The difference appears in the response. Some people search for excuses. Others blame circumstances or other people. Trusted leaders accept responsibility quickly. They explain what happened. They explain what will change. Then they follow through with action. Accountability builds confidence because it shows maturity. There is another reason people lose trust without realizing it. They speak differently to different groups, depending on what they think each group wants to hear. At first, this may seem helpful. Over time, the different messages begin to conflict. Eventually, someone notices once that happens, rebuilding trust becomes much harder. Speak with the same values wherever you go. Different situations may require different words, but your principles should remain unchanged. Your tone often communicates more than your vocabulary. People remember how your words made them feel. A respectful tone invites cooperation. An impatient tone creates resistance. Even helpful advice loses value when delivered with frustration. Before speaking, ask yourself whether your voice reflects the respect you expect from others. This simple awareness improves communication immediately. Another practical lesson is avoiding unnecessary certainty about the future. No one can predict every outcome. Instead of making unrealistic guarantees, explain what you are committed to doing. People appreciate realistic expectations because they reduce disappointment later. Confidence is not pretending to know everything. Confidence is showing that you will continue working toward the best possible result. Notice how experienced leaders answer difficult questions. They rarely rush. They organize their thoughts before responding. They answer what was actually asked, instead of changing the subject. They avoid adding unnecessary details that create confusion. Clear structure helps listeners follow the message. The more organized your thinking becomes, the more trustworthy your communication appears. People also believe those who admit learning from others. Some individuals act as though every good idea belongs to them. This attitude quietly reduces credibility. Giving credit where it belongs demonstrates confidence rather than weakness. It shows that your goal is finding the best solution instead of receiving personal praise. Humility often strengthens authority because it removes unnecessary competition. There is great value in repeating important values instead of repeating empty phrases. Your priorities should become visible through your everyday language. Speak regularly about responsibility. Speak regularly about preparation. Speak regularly about respect. Speak regularly about learning. Over time, people begin connecting your name with those values because they hear them consistently and see them reflected in your actions. Another habit worth developing is checking for understanding instead of assuming agreement. Many conversations end with both people believing they understood each other even though they interpreted the discussion differently. Ask someone to explain the plan in their own words. Invite questions before ending the conversation. This simple practice prevents confusion and strengthens confidence between both people. Leadership communication also requires patience during disagreement. Trust disappears quickly when people feel dismissed. Listen carefully, even when you disagree. Respond to the strongest part of their point, instead of the weakest. This approach shows fairness. People respect someone who treats opposing ideas seriously, even while defending a different position. The words you choose during success matter just as much as the words you choose during failure. Success can tempt people to become careless or proud. Trusted leaders remain grounded. They recognize the effort of the entire team. They acknowledge those who helped along the way. Gratitude keeps success from creating distance between you and the people around you. Every conversation gives people new evidence about your character. They notice whether your stories remain consistent. They notice whether your advice matches your lifestyle. They notice whether your actions support your promises. Character cannot stay hidden for long because daily communication slowly reveals it. This is why lasting trust depends less on speaking skill and more on personal discipline. A valuable daily exercise is reviewing one conversation before ending the day. Ask yourself whether your words created clarity or confusion. Ask whether you spoke with honesty, even during uncomfortable moments. Ask whether someone left the conversation understanding your real intention. Small daily reflection creates steady improvement because it turns ordinary experiences into valuable lessons. People are surrounded by voices competing for attention. Very few voices consistently deserve belief. Become one of those rare people whose words carry weight because they are supported by truth, responsibility, fairness, and steady action. Over time, others will stop listening merely because you are speaking. They will listen because experience has taught them that your words can be trusted, and that trust will become one of the strongest forms of leadership you will ever develop. Chapter 4. Stay calm when everyone watches you. Real leadership becomes visible during moments of pressure. Anyone can appear confident when everything is going well. The true test begins when many eyes turn toward you and people expect direction. Staying calm is not about hiding emotion. It is about keeping your judgment clear while others are waiting for your next move. Many people believe nervousness comes from being watched. The deeper reason is usually different. They begin imagining what others might be thinking about them. Their attention leaves the situation and turns inward. They start measuring every movement, every word, and every expression. This habit creates unnecessary pressure because the mind is trying to perform two jobs at once. It is trying to solve the problem while also trying to protect its image. A leader learns to place full attention on the task instead of personal appearance. This simple shift changes everything. The conversation becomes more important than your fear. The people become more important than your pride. The solution becomes more important than your comfort. Once your attention moves toward helping others, your mind becomes steadier because it has a useful purpose. There is a practical lesson that many experienced speakers discover after years of practice. The body often reacts before the mind fully understands the situation. Your hands may feel tense, your breathing may become shorter, your heartbeat may increase. None of these reactions automatically mean you are unprepared. They are normal physical responses. The mistake many people make is believing these sensations are signs of failure. In reality, they are simply signals that your body has recognized an important moment. Instead of fighting these feelings, learn to manage them. Place both feet firmly on the ground. Relax your shoulders without forcing them down. Let your breathing return to a slow and comfortable rhythm. Feel the chair beneath you or the floor supporting your weight. These small physical actions send useful signals back to your brain. They remind your nervous system that you are safe enough to think clearly. One valuable habit is arriving earlier than necessary whenever possible. Many people rush into important situations with their mind already overloaded. They barely have time to settle before speaking. Arriving early gives your mind a chance to become familiar with the environment. Notice the room, notice the lighting, notice where people will sit. This quiet observation reduces uncertainty because your brain no longer feels surprised by the surroundings. People often misunderstand confidence because they only notice what happens on the outside. They hear a calm voice and assume the speaker never feels pressure. The truth is different. Experienced leaders often feel the same physical tension as everyone else. The difference is that they have trained themselves not to obey every anxious thought. They continue speaking with purpose, even while feeling uncomfortable. This skill grows through repetition rather than talent. Another practical exercise is learning to slow the beginning of every important conversation. The first minute influences the rest of the discussion. Many nervous speakers rush through their opening because they want to escape the uncomfortable feeling. Slow your pace slightly. Let every sentence finish naturally before beginning the next one. This creates a sense of control that both you and your audience can feel. Many people lose calm because they believe they must appear perfect. Perfection creates impossible pressure. Every small mistake suddenly feels huge. Strong leaders replace perfection with responsibility. They focus on delivering value instead of delivering flawless performance. A small mistake rarely destroys credibility. Panic about the mistake usually causes much greater damage. There is another lesson that deserves attention. People watching you are usually not searching for reasons to criticize you. Most of them simply want useful information, clear direction, or reassurance. They are thinking about their own concerns far more than your small imperfections. Remembering this removes a surprising amount of unnecessary fear. The audience is not expecting perfection. They are hoping for clarity. One daily habit that strengthens calmness is practicing difficult conversations before they happen. Do not memorize every sentence. Instead, prepare the important ideas. Know the purpose of the conversation. Understand the facts. Anticipate possible questions. Preparation gives your mind a stable foundation. Once the discussion begins, you can remain flexible without becoming confused. Another overlooked skill is becoming comfortable with not having every answer immediately. Leaders sometimes face questions that require more thought. There is no weakness in saying that you will verify information before responding. Quick guesses may satisfy curiosity for a moment, but accurate answers create lasting respect. Calm people value truth more than speed. Observe people who remain steady during challenging situations. They rarely allow other people's emotions to control their own behavior. Someone may become angry, impatient, or frustrated, yet the leader keeps speaking with balance. This emotional stability often changes the entire atmosphere. Calmness spreads through a group just as quickly as panic does. People naturally adjust their own behavior after seeing someone remain composed. Your eyes also influence communication more than many people realize. Looking around nervously suggests uncertainty. Looking naturally at the people you are speaking with creates connection. You do not need constant eye contact. Simply allow your attention to rest on the people instead of constantly searching for escape. This habit helps your mind remain present instead of drifting toward fear. Many individuals become uncomfortable after making one small mistake during a presentation or meeting. They continue thinking about that mistake while the conversation moves forward. As a result, they miss important details and make even more errors. Learn to let small mistakes stay in the past. Correct them if necessary, then return your attention to the present moment. Leadership depends on recovering quickly rather than avoiding every error. Another practical lesson involves your speaking volume. Nervous people often become either too quiet or much louder than necessary. Neither extreme serves the message well. Choose a comfortable volume that feels natural. Allow your voice to rise only when the message truly requires emphasis. Consistency creates confidence because people can follow your words without effort. Calm communication also depends on accepting silence instead of fearing it. After explaining an important point, give people a moment to process what they heard. Resist the urge to immediately fill every quiet second. Those short pauses allow your message to settle. They also give you valuable time to gather your next thought without rushing. Leaders also develop the habit of separating urgent situations from emotional reactions. Not every loud voice represents a serious problem. Not every disagreement requires immediate action. Ask yourself what actually needs attention right now. This simple question prevents unnecessary stress because it keeps your mind focused on reality instead of emotional noise. Your daily lifestyle also affects how calm you remain under pressure. Poor sleep, constant distraction, and endless rushing reduce your ability to think clearly. Regular rest improves concentration. Quiet moments improve judgment. Healthy routines strengthen emotional balance. Leadership begins long before an important meeting because your everyday habits prepare your mind for future challenges. There is another powerful exercise that receives little attention. Practice explaining ordinary topics with clear and steady speech. Describe your daily plan. Explain a simple process. Share something you recently learned. These ordinary moments quietly build communication skills without the pressure of a formal audience. Small daily practice creates confidence that later appears during important situations. Another important habit is refusing to compare yourself with other speakers while you are speaking. Comparison divides your attention. You stop focusing on your message and begin measuring yourself against someone else's style. Every effective leader develops a personal way of communicating. Your responsibility is not to copy another voice. Your responsibility is to communicate your ideas with honesty and clarity. Strong leaders also understand that emotional control does not mean emotional distance. People still want warmth. They still appreciate kindness. Staying calm should never make your communication sound cold. Speak with respect. Acknowledge concerns. Show that you care about the people in front of you. Calmness, combined with genuine concern, creates a powerful sense of safety. There will be moments when unexpected problems appear without warning. Technology may fail, plans may change, someone may ask a difficult question, the room may become tense. Those moments reveal habits that have been built over many ordinary days. Instead of reacting immediately, pause long enough to understand what actually happened. Gather the facts. Choose your next step carefully. One calm decision often prevents many unnecessary problems. People remember how you behaved during pressure long after they forget the specific words you used. They remember whether your presence made the situation feel more stable or more stressful. They remember whether you brought order instead of confusion. Every opportunity to lead begins with mastering yourself before trying to guide anyone else. As your ability to remain calm becomes stronger, your words gain greater influence, your decisions become clearer, and people naturally begin looking toward you whenever the situation becomes difficult. Chapter 5. Use simple words that people remember. The strongest message is often the easiest one to understand. Great leaders do not fill conversations with difficult words. They make important ideas clear enough that anyone can follow them. People remember messages that fit naturally into everyday life. Clear communication stays in the mind because it removes confusion instead of creating it. Many people believe sounding intelligent means using long sentences and uncommon words. That habit usually creates distance instead of respect. A listener should never spend more energy trying to understand your language than understanding your idea. Every extra layer of complexity reduces the chance that your message will be remembered. Leadership communication is measured by what people understand, not by how impressive you sound. Watch two different speakers explain the same subject. One speaks with complicated language that requires constant effort to follow. The other explains the idea using simple words that everyone already knows. A few hours later, most people will remember the second speaker. This happens because the brain stores information more easily when it is presented with familiar language. Simplicity is not a lack of knowledge. Simplicity is proof that the speaker understands the subject well enough to explain it clearly. A useful daily habit is replacing difficult words with ordinary ones before important conversations. Read your own notes out loud. Notice any sentence that sounds unnatural. Ask yourself whether you would use those same words while talking to a close friend. If the answer is no, rewrite the sentence. Everyday language creates comfort. Comfortable listeners pay better attention. Another valuable lesson is learning to express one idea at a time. Many people try to fit several thoughts into a single sentence. By the time they finish speaking, the listener has forgotten the beginning. Break your ideas into smaller pieces. Finish one thought completely before introducing the next. This gives people enough time to understand and remember what you are saying. People often mistake more information for better communication. The opposite is frequently true. Giving too many details at once overloads attention. The listener begins wondering which part actually matters. Leaders help people focus by deciding what is most important. They remove unnecessary information so the main idea becomes stronger. There is a practical exercise that can improve your communication every day. After explaining something, ask yourself whether a young teenager could understand your explanation without additional help. This does not mean treating people as less intelligent, it means respecting their time. Clear language allows everyone to learn faster, regardless of experience. Another overlooked habit is choosing familiar examples from everyday life. People connect more easily with situations they recognize. Instead of speaking in abstract ideas, explain how a lesson appears during normal work, family conversations, daily decisions, or ordinary responsibilities. Familiar situations help listeners immediately apply the lesson because they have already experienced something similar. Strong leaders also avoid speaking only to prove they know more than others. Some people turn every conversation into a chance to display knowledge. This usually creates discomfort instead of influence. Leadership communication is not about winning admiration for intelligence. It is about helping other people understand something useful. Once your goal changes from impressing people to serving people, your language naturally becomes simpler. Pay attention to the words you repeat most often. Every leader develops certain phrases that become part of their identity. Choose words that encourage responsibility, honesty, patience, preparation, learning, and steady improvement. Repeating valuable ideas over time shapes the culture around you. People begin connecting those values with your voice because they hear them consistently. There is another lesson that many speakers overlook. Short sentences give listeners time to think. Long sentences demand continuous attention without offering a place to pause. During spoken communication, the audience cannot reread what you already said. Once the words are gone, they are gone. Short and complete thoughts make learning easier because each idea stands on its own. Another practical habit is avoiding unnecessary filler words. Many people fill empty moments with words that add no value. They repeat the same expressions again and again without noticing. These habits distract from the real message. Record yourself during a conversation or presentation. Listen carefully. Identify repeated words that serve no purpose. Removing them immediately strengthens your communication. People remember speakers who make decisions easy to understand. Every explanation should answer one simple question. What should the listener know, believe, or do after hearing these words? Once you know the answer, remove anything that does not support that goal. Focus creates memorable communication because every sentence points in the same direction. There is great value in using active language. Instead of describing what might happen someday, explain what people can do today. Replace vague ideas with practical actions. Say complete the task today instead of saying improvement is important. Say write your plan before breakfast instead of saying planning helps success. Action words move the mind toward behavior instead of simply creating agreement. Many people speak in a way that forces listeners to guess their real meaning. They hint instead of explaining. They expect others to understand without enough information. Good leaders remove guessing. They state expectations clearly. They explain responsibilities directly. They make important decisions easy to understand. Clarity prevents confusion before confusion becomes a problem. Your speaking rhythm also affects memory. Important ideas deserve enough space to be heard. Rushing from one point to another weakens retention. Allow your words to breathe naturally. Give listeners time to absorb one lesson before introducing the next. This steady pace helps information stay in long-term memory. Another overlooked skill is choosing positive language whenever possible. Negative language often forces the brain to process extra information before understanding the message. Instead of constantly telling people what not to do, explain what they should do instead. Clear direction is usually more useful than repeated warnings. People remember practical guidance because it gives them something they can immediately apply. Leaders also know that repeating the main idea in different words is more effective than repeating the exact same sentence. Each explanation should add a fresh angle. One example may connect with one person, while another example reaches someone else. This approach strengthens understanding without becoming repetitive. Variety keeps attention while reinforcing the same principle. There is another practical exercise that many communication coaches recommend. At the end of an important conversation, ask someone to explain your message back to you using their own words. Their explanation reveals whether your communication was truly clear. If they misunderstand, improve your explanation instead of blaming the listener. This habit develops humility and sharpens communication skills over time. Another lesson that deserves attention is learning to remove unnecessary opinions from factual explanations. During teaching moments, people first need understanding before they need personal interpretation. Build a strong foundation with clear information, then share your perspective. This structure helps listeners separate what is known from what is believed. People often remember the beginning and ending of conversations more than the middle. Choose your opening sentence carefully. End with one useful thought that people can carry into their daily lives. Avoid ending with several different ideas competing for attention. One clear closing message remains in the mind much longer than 5 unfinished thoughts. Strong communication also depends on respecting the listener's mental energy. Every conversation requires attention. Do not make people work harder than necessary. Organize your ideas before speaking. Remove repeated explanations. Keep your message moving with purpose. Every sentence should earn its place by adding something valuable. The goal is never to sound simple. The goal is to make understanding simple. Those are completely different things. A skilled leader studies deeply, thinks carefully, and prepares thoroughly, so other people do not have to struggle with unnecessary complexity. That effort becomes a gift to every listener. As you continue developing your leadership voice, remember that people rarely repeat complicated speeches. They repeat clear lessons that help them solve a real problem. They remember practical words that gave them confidence during difficult moments. They carry forward ideas that were easy to understand and useful to apply. Every time you choose simple language with honest purpose, you increase the chance that your words will stay with people long after the conversation has ended. Chapter 6. Lead every meeting with clear direction. Every meeting should move people closer to a decision or a meaningful action. A leader never gathers people simply because it feels productive. Time is valuable. Every minute spent together should solve a problem, create understanding, or prepare people for the next step. When direction is missing, even talented people become uncertain. Clear leadership removes that uncertainty before it begins. Many meetings fail before the first person speaks. The reason is simple. Nobody knows the real purpose. Some people expect a discussion. Others expect a decision. Someone else believes they are only there to listen. This confusion creates frustration because everyone arrives with different expectations. A leader prevents this by deciding the purpose before inviting anyone into the room. One useful habit is writing the main goal in one short sentence before every meeting. Ask yourself what should be different when this meeting ends. Should a decision be made? Should a problem be solved? Should responsibilities become clear? Should new information be shared? Once the answer becomes clear, every part of the meeting becomes easier to manage. Many people begin meetings by talking about whatever comes to mind first. Strong leaders begin by giving people direction. The opening minutes shape the entire conversation. Start by explaining why everyone is together. Tell people what needs to be accomplished. Explain how the discussion will move forward. This removes confusion and helps everyone focus on the same objective from the beginning. People feel more confident when they understand where the conversation is going. They become more willing to contribute because they know how their ideas fit into the discussion. Uncertainty often creates silence. Clarity encourages participation. Good leadership makes people feel that their time is being respected because every part of the meeting has a purpose. Another practical lesson is learning to separate important topics from interesting topics. Interesting discussions can continue for hours without producing results. Important discussions lead toward decisions that improve work or solve real problems. During every meeting, ask yourself whether the current conversation is helping the main goal. If it is not, guide everyone back to the original purpose with respect and confidence. Many leaders make the mistake of speaking for most of the meeting. They believe constant talking demonstrates authority. Real leadership creates space for useful contributions. People closest to the work often have valuable information that others cannot see. Invite those voices into the conversation. Ask clear questions. Listen carefully. Build decisions using the knowledge already present in the room. There is an overlooked skill that separates effective leaders from average ones. Learn how to summarize discussions at the right moment. Long conversations often produce many different ideas. People begin forgetting what has already been agreed upon. Pause occasionally and explain where the discussion stands. Repeat the decisions already made. Identify what still needs attention. This keeps everyone moving together instead of drifting into confusion. Another daily habit is preparing questions before the meeting begins. Good questions create better discussions than long speeches. Instead of asking broad questions that produce unclear answers, ask questions that move people toward practical decisions. Ask what problem is creating the biggest delay. Ask what resource is missing. Ask what action can begin today. Focused questions produce focused thinking. Strong leaders also understand the difference between information and action. Sharing information is useful, but information alone changes nothing. Every important discussion should lead to a clear next step. Before moving to another topic, make sure everyone understands what will happen next. Clarity creates accountability because people leave knowing exactly what is expected. One common mistake is allowing one person to dominate every conversation. Meetings become less valuable when only one voice is heard. Some people naturally speak often. Others remain quiet, even though they have excellent ideas. A leader notices this balance. Invite quieter people to share their thoughts. Sometimes the most practical solution comes from the person who has spoken the least. Respecting time is another form of leadership. Meetings that continue without direction slowly reduce energy. People stop paying attention because they no longer see progress. Set a reasonable amount of time for each major topic. Move forward once enough information has been gathered. Endless discussion rarely creates better decisions. It usually creates fatigue. Another practical lesson involves handling disagreement. Different opinions should not be viewed as problems. They often improve decisions by revealing details that others overlooked. Encourage respectful discussion while keeping everyone focused on solving the issue instead of defending personal pride. Remind the group that the goal is finding the strongest solution rather than proving who is right. Leaders also pay attention to the emotional atmosphere in the room. Sometimes people become quiet because they feel uncertain. Sometimes frustration grows because expectations are unclear. Sometimes energy drops because the discussion has lost direction. Notice these changes early. Acknowledge them calmly. Guide the conversation back toward clarity before confusion becomes permanent. There is great value in using a visible structure during meetings. Move through one subject completely before beginning another. Jumping between unrelated topics forces people to constantly shift their attention. Organized discussions reduce mental effort and improve memory. People leave with a much clearer understanding because the conversation followed a logical path. Another overlooked habit is repeating decisions immediately after they are made. Do not assume everyone interpreted the discussion the same way. State the decision clearly. Explain who is responsible. Explain what happens next. Explain any important deadlines if they exist. This simple review prevents misunderstandings that often appear later. Good leaders also recognize that not every problem requires a meeting. Some issues can be solved with a short conversation. Others require a written update. Calling unnecessary meetings slowly reduces respect for future meetings. People begin assuming their time will not be used wisely. Protect the value of meetings by using them only when real collaboration is needed. One valuable communication skill is noticing when the discussion becomes too detailed for the whole group. Some technical or personal issues involve only a few people. Do not allow those topics to consume everyone's attention. Acknowledge the issue and arrange for the appropriate people to continue later. This keeps the larger meeting focused while still respecting the importance of the smaller issue. Another lesson many leaders discover through experience is the importance of ending every meeting with complete clarity. Never allow people to leave wondering what they are supposed to do. Review the important decisions one last time. Confirm responsibilities. Invite final questions. Give everyone confidence that they understand the next step before the meeting ends. Leaders also avoid creating fear during discussions. People contribute their best ideas when they feel respected. Respond thoughtfully, even when someone offers a suggestion that cannot be used. Explain your reasoning without embarrassing anyone. A respectful response encourages future participation. A dismissive response teaches people to remain silent. Preparation also includes understanding the people in the room. Different individuals process information differently. Some prefer details before making decisions. Others focus on the larger goal first. A skilled leader explains ideas in a way that helps everyone follow the discussion. This requires awareness rather than assumptions. Observe how people respond and adjust your communication accordingly. Another practical habit is writing down decisions as they happen instead of relying on memory. Memory changes over time. Written notes create accuracy. They also provide confidence because everyone knows what was actually agreed upon. Clear records reduce future disagreements and save valuable time. Meetings should also create momentum. People should leave feeling that progress has been made. They should understand how today's discussion connects with tomorrow's work. Direction creates motivation because people see meaningful movement instead of endless conversation. Even small progress feels valuable when everyone knows where they are going. A leader also knows how to bring wandering conversations back without making anyone feel ignored. Acknowledge the point respectfully. Connect it to the main purpose if possible. If it belongs elsewhere, explain that it deserves separate attention later. This protects both the relationship and the direction of the meeting. Leadership is not measured by how many meetings you lead. It is measured by what changes because of those meetings. Every discussion should produce greater understanding, stronger teamwork, wiser decisions, or meaningful action. When people consistently leave your meetings knowing exactly what matters, what happens next, and how they can contribute, your words begin creating progress instead of confusion. That is the kind of leadership people remember because it improves both results and the confidence of everyone involved. Chapter 7. Handle tough questions without losing control. Every leader is remembered by the way they respond during difficult conversations. Easy questions require very little character. Tough questions reveal discipline, preparation, and emotional strength. People pay close attention during these moments because they want to know whether your confidence is real or only visible when everything is comfortable. Your answer becomes more than information. It becomes evidence of your leadership. Many people become uncomfortable the moment they hear a difficult question. Their mind immediately begins searching for the perfect answer. At the same time, they worry about making a mistake, losing respect, or appearing unprepared. This creates unnecessary pressure because they are trying to solve the question while also protecting their image. Strong leaders choose a different approach. They focus completely on understanding the question before thinking about the answer. One practical habit is allowing the question to finish completely. Many people interrupt because they assume they already know what the other person is asking. This creates two problems. First, they sometimes answer the wrong question. Second, the person asking feels ignored. Listening until the final word shows patience and respect. It also gives your mind extra time to organize a thoughtful response. Another useful lesson is learning to separate difficult questions into smaller parts. Some questions contain several concerns at once. They may include facts, emotions, expectations, and personal opinions. Trying to answer everything at the same time often creates confusion. Instead, identify the main issue first. Address it clearly, then move to the next part. Breaking complex questions into simple pieces helps both you and the listener stay focused. Many leaders quietly use a short pause before answering. This is not because they are uncertain. No, they understand that thoughtful communication begins with thoughtful thinking. A brief moment of silence allows unnecessary emotion to settle. It also gives the listener confidence that you are taking the question seriously instead of reacting automatically. Calm thinking usually produces clearer answers than quick reactions. There is another lesson that receives very little attention. Not every difficult question is actually asking for information. Some people ask because they feel confused. Others ask because they feel frustrated. Some ask because they want reassurance. A few simply want to be heard. Listen for the real need behind the words. Once you understand that need, your answer becomes much more helpful. A practical habit is repeating the question in your own words before answering. This serves two important purposes. First, it confirms that you understood correctly. Second, it gives the other person confidence that you listened carefully. Small misunderstandings disappear quickly because both people are now working from the same understanding of the issue. Many people believe they must defend themselves every time they receive a challenging question. This habit creates unnecessary conflict. A question is not automatically an attack. Curiosity should never be treated as disrespect. Even direct questions can become valuable opportunities to build trust when answered with patience. The moment you stop viewing every challenge as a personal threat, your communication becomes much stronger. Strong leaders also understand that honesty creates more confidence than pretending to know everything. Sometimes the correct answer is that more information is needed. There is no shame in saying that you will verify the facts before giving a complete answer. People usually respect careful accuracy much more than confident guessing. Protecting the truth should always be more important than protecting your pride. Another overlooked skill is learning to answer only what was asked. Some people become nervous and begin adding unnecessary explanations. They continue speaking long after the important point has already been made. Extra words often create new questions that never existed before. Stay close to the original question. Give a clear answer. Add supporting information only when it genuinely improves understanding. Your body also communicates while you answer. Tight shoulders, restless hands, and constant movement often distract people from your message. Develop the habit of remaining physically steady during important conversations. Stand comfortably. Let your hands move naturally instead of constantly searching for something to do. Calm physical behavior supports calm thinking. Many difficult questions involve criticism. This is where emotional discipline becomes especially important. Listen carefully before deciding whether the criticism is fair, partly true, or completely incorrect. Even poorly delivered criticism may contain useful information. Leaders search for valuable lessons before defending themselves. This habit turns uncomfortable moments into opportunities for growth. Another practical lesson is avoiding emotional language during disagreement. Strong emotions often tempt people to use words that permanently damage relationships. Once spoken, those words cannot be taken back. Replace emotional reactions with careful observations. Describe what happened instead of attacking someone's character. Focus on solving the issue rather than proving personal superiority. There will be times when someone asks a question with visible frustration. Their tone may sound impatient. Their words may feel sharp. Do not copy their emotional state. Your responsibility is not to match their mood. Your responsibility is to guide the conversation toward understanding. Calmness often changes the direction of the discussion because people naturally adjust their behavior when they realize they are being treated with respect. One valuable exercise is practicing answers before difficult situations happen. Make a list of challenging questions you may face. Write short and honest responses. Read them aloud. Improve them until they sound natural. Preparation reduces unnecessary anxiety because your mind has already explored possible situations before they become real. Many people lose control because they believe every answer must satisfy everyone. That is impossible. Leadership is not about pleasing every individual. It is about making fair decisions based on facts, values, and responsibility. Some people may still disagree, but respectful disagreement is part of healthy communication. Do not measure your success by universal approval. Measure it by honesty and consistency. Another important lesson is recognizing the difference between confidence and defensiveness. Defensive people protect themselves first. Confident people protect the conversation first. They remain open to new information. They admit mistakes when necessary. They ask questions when clarification is needed. This attitude creates cooperation instead of resistance. There is also great value in knowing when a conversation needs more time. Some questions cannot be answered properly in a few minutes. Rushing through important issues often creates larger problems later. Explain that the subject deserves careful attention. Arrange another discussion if necessary. Taking enough time demonstrates respect for both the issue and the people involved. Good leaders avoid making promises during emotional moments. Pressure often pushes people toward unrealistic commitments. They promise immediate solutions before understanding the full situation. A wiser approach is explaining what you can responsibly do next. Clear expectations protect trust because people know exactly what to expect. Another habit worth developing is paying attention to the words people choose after your answer. Their response tells you whether they truly understood. If confusion remains, explain the idea differently instead of repeating the same sentence. Different people understand information in different ways. Flexibility strengthens communication because it keeps the focus on understanding rather than proving a point. Difficult questions also reveal the quality of your preparation. People who regularly study their work, review important information, and stay informed rarely panic during challenging conversations. Knowledge creates quiet confidence. It removes the need to pretend because real understanding is already present. Daily learning becomes visible whenever unexpected questions appear. One overlooked skill is thanking people for thoughtful questions. This simple habit changes the emotional atmosphere. It reminds everyone that questions are valuable rather than inconvenient. People become more willing to participate because they feel respected. Healthy discussions grow where curiosity is welcomed instead of discouraged. Leaders also understand that silence after an answer is not automatically a problem. Some people need time to process information before responding. Resist the urge to fill every quiet moment with more explanation. Allow the conversation to breathe naturally. Patience often produces deeper understanding than constant talking. Your reputation is shaped one difficult conversation at a time. People may forget many ordinary discussions, but they remember how you responded when the pressure increased. They remember whether you stayed respectful while others became emotional. They remember whether your answers remained honest, even when honesty was uncomfortable. They remember whether you valued truth more than appearance. Every challenging question gives you another opportunity to strengthen your leadership. Instead of fearing those moments, begin viewing them as chances to demonstrate discipline, fairness, and clear thinking. Over time, people will notice that your calm does not disappear during pressure, your respect does not change during disagreement, and your judgment remains steady when others become unsettled. That quiet consistency becomes one of the strongest reasons people continue trusting your words long after the conversation has ended. Chapter 8. Win respect through honest daily communication. Respect is not created by a single powerful speech. It is built through hundreds of ordinary conversations that people almost forget. Every greeting, every promise, every explanation, and every response quietly shapes the way others see you. Leadership is not measured only during important moments. It is measured during the small moments that most people overlook. Honest communication in daily life creates a reputation that becomes stronger with time. Many people spend too much energy trying to appear successful. They carefully choose words that make them look capable, experienced, or important. The problem with this habit is that appearances cannot carry a relationship for very long. Eventually, people compare your words with your actions. They notice whether your behavior matches your message. Respect begins growing when those two things remain connected every day. One practical lesson is learning to speak with the same honesty in private that you use in public. Character becomes visible when nobody is expecting it. Some people speak respectfully only when someone important is listening. Others change their attitude depending on who enters the room. Strong leaders remain consistent. They treat every person with the same level of dignity because respect is a personal standard, not a performance. Another habit that strengthens leadership is saying exactly what you mean without making people guess your intentions. Confusing communication often creates unnecessary stress. Someone leaves a conversation wondering what was actually expected. Another person misunderstands a simple request because it was never explained clearly. Honest communication removes uncertainty. It replaces assumptions with understanding. People also respect leaders who admit small mistakes before someone else discovers them. Many individuals waste valuable energy trying to protect an image of perfection. They hide errors that could have been corrected easily. Unfortunately, the truth usually appears sooner or later. At that point, people remember the attempt to hide the mistake more than the mistake itself. Taking responsibility early protects trust because it demonstrates maturity instead of fear. Another valuable lesson is understanding the difference between honesty and carelessness. Honest communication does not mean saying every thought that enters your mind. It means choosing truthful words that also consider the effect they will have on others. A leader understands that the goal is not simply to express personal feelings. The goal is to communicate in a way that helps people move forward together. Many conversations become difficult because people avoid uncomfortable subjects for too long. They hope the problem will disappear by itself. Small misunderstandings slowly become larger disagreements because nobody addressed them while they were still manageable. Honest daily communication prevents this pattern. Respectfully discussing small issues today often prevents major conflict tomorrow. There is an important habit that many successful leaders practice without attracting attention. They verify information before repeating it. Rumors spread quickly because people enjoy sharing interesting stories. Responsible leaders refuse to pass along information they cannot confirm. This simple discipline protects both their credibility and the trust of the people around them. Others begin believing your words because they know you speak carefully rather than carelessly. Pay close attention to the promises you make during ordinary conversations. Many people casually agree to things they never intend to complete. They promise to send information. They promise to return a call. They promise to finish a task by a certain day. Every unfulfilled commitment weakens confidence a little more. Honest communication begins with realistic commitments that you fully intend to honor. Another practical exercise is replacing vague answers with clear ones. Instead of saying you will try, explain what you actually plan to do. Instead of giving uncertain responses, provide realistic expectations. Clarity allows people to make better decisions because they know where they truly stand. Honest communication creates stability because it removes unnecessary guessing. Strong leaders also avoid changing their message simply to satisfy different people. They may adjust their explanation for different audiences, but their values remain steady. Some individuals tell one person what they want to hear and tell someone else the complete opposite. This may create temporary comfort, but it eventually destroys credibility. People trust those whose principles remain stable, even when circumstances change. There is another overlooked lesson. Honest communication includes admitting what you do not know. Many people fear those words because they think uncertainty will reduce respect. In reality, pretending to know something you do not understand creates much greater damage. A leader who openly says they will research the answer demonstrates confidence in learning rather than fear of appearing imperfect. Respect also grows through fairness. During disagreements, avoid presenting only the facts that support your own position. Acknowledge the parts of the situation that are true, even when they do not favor your argument. This balanced approach shows integrity. People become more willing to trust your judgment because they see that you value truth above personal victory. Another useful habit is finishing conversations with complete understanding. Never assume the other person understood your message exactly as you intended. Invite questions, confirm important details, encourage clarification before both people leave. This small effort prevents many future misunderstandings. Clear endings create stronger beginnings for future conversations. Many people underestimate the value of admitting that another person has a good idea. Some individuals treat every discussion like a competition. They struggle to recognize wisdom unless it comes from themselves. Leadership requires a different attitude. Celebrate useful ideas wherever they appear. Giving honest recognition encourages teamwork and creates an environment where people feel comfortable contributing their best thinking. Your everyday reactions also communicate your values. Pay attention to how you respond when plans change unexpectedly. Notice how you react when someone disagrees with you. Observe your attitude after receiving criticism. These ordinary moments reveal your character much more clearly than prepared speeches. Honest communication is reflected not only in carefully chosen words, but also in natural responses. Another practical lesson is avoiding unnecessary praise that you do not genuinely believe. Encouragement is valuable, but empty compliments quickly lose their meaning. People usually recognize when praise is sincere and when it is automatic. Offer recognition for real effort, real improvement, and real achievement. Honest appreciation carries much greater weight because it is based on truth rather than habit. Leaders who earn lasting respect also develop the discipline of speaking directly to people instead of speaking about them. Gossip may create temporary entertainment, but it quietly damages trust. People begin wondering whether you speak about them the same way when they are absent. Honest communication values direct conversation over hidden criticism. This creates emotional safety because people know where they stand with you. There is another important skill that strengthens relationships. Learn to explain your decisions instead of expecting blind agreement. People do not always need to approve every decision, but they often appreciate understanding the reasoning behind it. Taking time to explain your thinking shows respect for the people affected by your choices. Understanding reduces unnecessary resistance. Another overlooked habit is allowing your words to remain calm, even when someone else becomes emotional. Honest communication is easier to receive when it is delivered without anger. Strong emotions often distract people from the real message. Calm words help others focus on the issue rather than your emotional reaction. This creates better discussions even during difficult situations. Respect also depends on consistency over long periods of time. One honest conversation creates a positive impression. Hundreds of honest conversations create a trusted reputation. People stop wondering whether you will tell the truth because they have already seen your pattern. Daily habits become stronger evidence than occasional promises. A valuable exercise is reviewing one conversation every evening. Ask yourself whether you left anything unclear. Ask whether your words reflected your values. Ask whether you avoided difficult truths that should have been discussed respectfully. These simple questions create continuous improvement because they transform ordinary experiences into learning opportunities. Leaders also know that honest communication sometimes requires saying no. Many people agree to requests simply because they want to avoid disappointing others. Later, they fail to deliver because the commitment was unrealistic from the beginning. A respectful no given early often protects far more trust than an unreliable yes that cannot be fulfilled. People appreciate clear expectations even when the answer is not the one they hoped for. Another lesson worth remembering is that respect cannot be demanded through authority. It grows because people repeatedly experience fairness, honesty, responsibility, and consistency. They notice that your words remain dependable regardless of success or difficulty. They realize they do not need to question your intentions because your daily communication has already answered those questions through your actions. Every ordinary conversation gives you another opportunity to strengthen your leadership. Speak with honesty, even when the truth requires courage. Keep your promises, even when they become inconvenient. Correct misunderstandings before they become larger problems. Give credit fairly. Accept responsibility without delay. Over time, people will not remember every sentence you spoke, but they will remember the steady character behind those words. That lasting trust becomes one of the greatest forms of respect a leader can ever earn. Chapter 9. Inspire people to take positive action. Leadership creates its greatest value when it moves people from intention to action. Good ideas matter, but they change nothing until someone begins using them. Every conversation should help people leave with greater clarity, stronger belief, and a practical next step. A leader is not remembered for giving the longest speech. A leader is remembered for helping ordinary people achieve extraordinary progress through consistent action. Many people believe motivation comes before action. Daily life often shows the opposite. Action creates motivation far more often than motivation creates action. Someone who waits until they feel completely ready usually waits much longer than necessary. The simple act of beginning changes the way the mind works. Progress creates confidence because every completed step becomes proof that another step is possible. One of the greatest communication mistakes is filling people with excitement while giving them no clear direction. They leave feeling inspired for a short time, but they do not know what to do next. That feeling disappears quickly because emotion without action has no foundation. Strong leaders always connect encouragement with practical behavior. Every message should answer one important question. What should this person do after hearing these words? A useful habit is breaking large goals into small daily actions. Big goals often create unnecessary pressure because people cannot immediately see the path forward. Small actions remove that pressure. Instead of telling someone to become more confident, encourage them to speak once during every meeting. Instead of telling someone to become a better communicator, encourage them to practice one thoughtful conversation each day. Small actions create visible progress that keeps people moving. Many individuals lose energy because they focus only on the distance that still remains. They rarely notice how much they have already improved. A leader helps people recognize progress. This does not mean ignoring weaknesses. It means showing that improvement is already happening. People continue working harder when they can clearly see that their effort is producing results. Another practical lesson is explaining the reason behind every action. People work with greater commitment when they understand why something matters. Simply giving instructions often creates temporary obedience. Explaining the purpose creates lasting commitment. A person who understands the value of a habit is much more likely to continue practicing it even when no one is watching. Strong leaders also know that encouragement should be specific. General praise feels pleasant, but detailed recognition creates growth. Instead of telling someone they did well, explain exactly what they did that made a difference. Mention the preparation they showed. Mention the patience they displayed. Mention the improvement you noticed. Specific encouragement teaches people which behaviors deserve repeating. There is another lesson that many people overlook. The fastest way to reduce someone's confidence is constantly pointing out what they failed to do. The fastest way to strengthen confidence is helping them see what they are capable of improving next. Productive feedback always moves forward. It identifies a weakness, but it also provides a clear path toward improvement. This balance keeps people growing instead of becoming discouraged. Many leaders speak about success as though it belongs only to naturally talented people. Real growth tells a different story. Most meaningful improvement comes from repeated practice rather than special ability. Tell people the truth about progress. Explain that confidence grows through repetition. Explain that discipline develops through daily choices. Explain that strong communication improves through regular use. Honest expectations prevent unnecessary disappointment. A practical exercise is asking people to commit to one improvement instead of many. Too many goals divide attention. One focused commitment creates momentum. Once that habit becomes natural, another can be added. Steady progress almost always lasts longer than dramatic change attempted all at once. Another overlooked habit is showing people how to recover after a mistake. Many individuals stop trying because they believe one failure has erased all previous progress. Leaders teach a different lesson. Mistakes are information. They reveal where more practice is needed. They reveal habits that require adjustment. A person who learns from one mistake often becomes stronger than someone who never faced difficulty at all. People also respond more positively when they feel included instead of instructed. Replace language that creates distance with language that creates partnership. Speak about what can be achieved together. Speak about shared responsibility. Speak about mutual improvement. Leadership becomes stronger when people feel they are part of the journey rather than simply following directions. Another practical lesson is celebrating discipline instead of only celebrating results. Results are important, but they often take time. Daily effort deserves recognition because it is the foundation of every future achievement. Notice consistency, notice preparation, notice persistence. These habits deserve attention because they eventually produce meaningful outcomes. There is great value in helping people discover their own reasons for improving. External rewards create temporary effort. Personal purpose creates lasting commitment. Ask people what kind of person they want to become. Ask what habits would make them proud of themselves. Ask what future they are trying to build. These questions create deeper motivation because the answers belong to them rather than someone else. Strong leaders also avoid overwhelming people with constant correction. Continuous criticism slowly weakens confidence. Choose the most important improvement first. Help people master that skill before introducing another challenge. Growth becomes sustainable because attention remains focused instead of scattered. Another daily habit is reminding people that improvement is rarely visible from one day to the next. Real change often appears quietly. Better decisions become more common. Better conversations happen more naturally. Better habits require less effort. Small improvements accumulate until they become impossible to ignore. Helping people recognize this process keeps them patient during slow periods. Many people stop taking action because they compare their beginning with someone else's experience. Comparison creates discouragement because it ignores different journeys. Encourage people to measure themselves against yesterday instead of against someone else. Personal progress creates healthier confidence because it is based on genuine improvement rather than competition. Another overlooked lesson involves making action easier than delay. People naturally repeat behaviors that fit smoothly into daily life. Encourage simple routines that require very little preparation. A habit that begins easily has a much greater chance of continuing. Complicated systems often fail because they demand too much energy before becoming rewarding. Leaders also inspire action by becoming examples rather than simply instructors. People carefully observe behavior. They notice whether your daily choices match your advice. They notice whether you continue learning. They notice whether you remain disciplined during difficult seasons. Personal example quietly strengthens every message because it proves your words can be lived. Another practical communication skill is ending conversations with one clear commitment. Avoid sending people away with too many ideas competing for attention. Help them choose one action they can complete today. Immediate action creates momentum. Momentum creates consistency. Consistency creates lasting change. There will always be people who doubt themselves more than they should. They underestimate their ability because they only notice past mistakes. A leader helps them see possibilities they have overlooked. This does not mean offering unrealistic promises. It means pointing out real strengths, genuine progress, and practical opportunities that already exist. Honest encouragement expands confidence because it is built on observable truth. Another lesson that deserves attention is teaching people how to continue after enthusiasm fades. Every meaningful goal eventually reaches ordinary days. Those are the days that shape character. Explain that discipline becomes most valuable when excitement becomes quiet. Daily commitment carries people much farther than temporary emotion ever could. People also become more willing to act when they know exactly what success looks like. Replace vague expectations with clear examples. Describe the behavior you want to see. Explain what improvement looks like in everyday situations. Clear expectations remove uncertainty and make action feel achievable. Every leader has the opportunity to leave people stronger than they were before the conversation began. Your words should help them see the next step more clearly. Your attitude should increase their confidence without hiding the reality of hard work. Your guidance should make progress feel possible because it is supported by practical actions instead of empty promises. The greatest measure of leadership is not how many people admire your words, it is how many people improve because of them. Every clear instruction, every honest encouragement, every thoughtful correction, and every practical lesson becomes part of someone else's growth. Over time, your influence will not be remembered because you spoke with confidence. It will be remembered because your communication helped ordinary people believe in their ability to act, improve, and continue moving forward long after the conversation was over. Chapter 10. Become someone others naturally want to follow. Leadership is never created by asking people to follow you. Real leadership grows because people trust your character, believe your words, and feel stronger after spending time with you. Influence cannot be demanded. It must be earned through daily choices that consistently show responsibility, honesty, discipline, and genuine care for others. The person you become will always speak louder than the position you hold. Many people spend years trying to develop leadership skills while ignoring leadership habits. Skills help you communicate. Habits determine whether people continue believing you. Someone may give an excellent presentation, but if they repeatedly fail to keep their commitments, people slowly lose confidence in them. Lasting influence grows from dependable behavior that people experience again and again. One of the first qualities people notice in a leader is consistency. They want to know whether they can depend on you during both easy and difficult seasons. They observe how you respond when plans fail. They notice whether your attitude changes after success. They pay attention to how you treat people who cannot offer you any advantage. These ordinary moments quietly answer an important question. Can this person be trusted over time? A valuable daily practice is making your behavior predictable in the best possible way. Let people know they can expect honesty from you. Let them know you will prepare before important work. Let them know you will accept responsibility when something goes wrong. Let them know you will remain respectful during disagreement. Predictable character creates emotional security because people know what kind of person they are working with. Many people believe leadership comes from always being the strongest voice in the room. In reality, people often follow those who make others feel heard. Listening is not a passive activity. It is an active demonstration of respect. When someone feels that you have truly understood them, they become much more willing to understand you. Mutual respect creates stronger relationships than constant persuasion. Another practical lesson is learning to become dependable before trying to become influential. Influence grows naturally when people repeatedly see you completing what you start. Finish your work on time. Arrive when you said you would. Keep your promises even when nobody reminds you. Dependability builds confidence because people stop wondering whether they can count on you. There is another important habit that receives less attention than it deserves. Make your decisions based on values instead of convenience. Convenient decisions often produce short-term comfort but long-term regret. Value-based decisions may require extra effort today, yet they strengthen your reputation tomorrow. Every difficult choice becomes an opportunity to prove what truly matters to you. People naturally observe how leaders respond to success. Some individuals become proud and begin acting as though they no longer need advice. Others remain teachable. They continue asking questions. They continue learning from different people. They continue improving even after achieving good results. Humility strengthens leadership because it shows that growth never stops. Another overlooked lesson is understanding that confidence should make people feel comfortable instead of intimidated. Some individuals mistake authority for control. They try to influence people through pressure or fear. Lasting leadership works differently. People willingly follow someone who creates trust, fairness, and emotional safety. They know their ideas will be heard. They know mistakes will become learning opportunities instead of personal attacks. A practical habit is making every conversation leave the other person with greater clarity than before. Confusion drains confidence. Clarity builds confidence. Whether you are giving instructions, sharing feedback, or discussing future plans, help people understand exactly what matters most. A leader reduces uncertainty because clear communication allows people to move forward with confidence. Another powerful lesson is recognizing that your attitude quietly shapes the attitude of the people around you. During difficult situations, people naturally observe your emotional response. They notice whether you remain balanced or become overwhelmed. They notice whether you search for solutions or spend all your energy blaming circumstances. Your emotional discipline becomes permission for others to remain steady as well. Many people try to become memorable by speaking dramatically. Strong leaders become memorable because they consistently improve other people's lives. They solve problems. They teach useful lessons. They encourage responsibility. They create opportunities for growth. Their influence remains long after the conversation ends because it produces practical results instead of temporary excitement. There is great value in becoming the kind of person who asks thoughtful questions. Questions demonstrate curiosity, respect, and wisdom. Instead of assuming you already know everything, invite different perspectives. Ask people what they have learned. Ask what challenges they are facing. Ask what support would help them improve. Curiosity creates stronger relationships because people feel valued rather than judged. Another practical exercise is reviewing your leadership at the end of every week. Do not measure yourself only by completed tasks. Measure yourself by the effect you had on people. Did someone leave a conversation with more confidence than before? Did you help someone solve a problem? Did you encourage responsible action? Did your behavior match your values? These questions reveal whether your influence is truly growing. Strong leaders also understand the importance of emotional consistency. People become uncertain around someone whose mood changes without warning. They never know what kind of response they will receive. This uncertainty slowly weakens trust. Develop the habit of responding thoughtfully instead of emotionally. Stable behavior creates stable relationships. Another lesson worth remembering is that respect should never depend on agreement. People will sometimes choose different ideas. They may question your decisions. They may see situations from another perspective. Continue treating them with dignity. Fairness during disagreement often earns more respect than agreement during easy conversations. Leadership also requires courage to make difficult decisions. There will be moments when delaying action feels easier than accepting responsibility. There will be situations where telling the truth becomes uncomfortable. There will be times when the right decision is not the popular one. Character becomes visible during those moments because values are tested through action rather than words. Many people underestimate the importance of reliability during ordinary days. Grand achievements receive attention, but daily reliability builds trust. Returning messages, completing responsibilities, preparing before important discussions, following through without constant reminders. These simple habits rarely become headlines, yet they quietly build the foundation of lasting leadership. Another practical lesson is helping people grow instead of making them dependent on you. Some leaders enjoy being the only person with answers. Wise leaders teach others how to think, solve problems, and make good decisions. They celebrate the success of those around them because they understand that leadership multiplies strength instead of collecting attention. People also notice how you respond after making an incorrect decision. Everyone experiences moments of poor judgment. What matters most is what happens next. Accept responsibility quickly. Learn from the experience. Adjust your approach. Continue moving forward without making excuses. This response demonstrates maturity because it shows that personal growth matters more than protecting pride. There is another quality that quietly attracts followers. It is reliability during difficult times. Many people remain supportive while everything is going well. True leaders continue showing up when situations become challenging. They stay committed when progress becomes slower. They continue encouraging others when results require patience. Steady commitment builds confidence because people know they are not facing challenges alone. Another overlooked habit is making appreciation part of your daily communication. Notice effort. Recognize improvement. Thank people for their contribution. Genuine appreciation reminds others that their work has value. This strengthens motivation because people feel their dedication has been seen rather than ignored. Leadership also becomes stronger when you remain open to correction. Someone may notice a weakness that you have overlooked. Listen carefully before reacting. Every piece of useful feedback becomes another opportunity to improve. People respect leaders who continue learning because it shows confidence instead of insecurity. As your influence grows, remember that every conversation leaves a mark on someone. Your words can strengthen confidence or weaken it. Your attitude can create hope or create doubt. Your example can encourage discipline or encourage excuses. Choose carefully because leadership is built one interaction at a time. The people who leave the greatest impact are rarely those who chase admiration. They become unforgettable because they consistently help others become better. They communicate with honesty. They act with discipline. They treat every person with respect. They continue learning long after others stop growing. They remain dependable when circumstances become uncertain. They lead by example before expecting anyone else to follow. Become the person whose presence brings clarity instead of confusion. Become the person whose promises can be trusted without question. Become the person who stays calm while others lose focus. Become the person who helps people discover strengths they did not know they possessed. When your daily actions continue matching your daily words, People will not follow because they were persuaded by a speech. They will follow because your character has quietly shown them a better way to live, communicate, and lead every single day. Every conversation after today is a new chance to become the leader you want to be. Remember this simple truth. People may forget many of your words, but they will always remember how your words made them feel and the confidence your voice gave them. Leadership is not built in one speech. It is built one conversation at a time through honesty, clear thinking, calm decisions, and daily practice. Do not try to change everything tomorrow. Choose one lesson from this audiobook and practice it until it becomes natural. Then move to the next one. Small improvements repeated every day create a powerful voice that earns trust, respect, and lasting influence. Thank you for spending this time with us and investing in your personal growth. If this audiobook helped you see communication in a new way, make sure you come back for the next lesson. Every audiobook in this journey is designed to help you think better, speak better, lead better, and become a stronger version of yourself. Your next level begins with your next conversation. Until the next audiobook, keep learning, keep growing, and keep speaking like the leader you are becoming.